Cool. You ready?
Yeah?
I assume this will be on the shorter end, just because.
Yeah, there really wasn't much.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of meat in this particular bone.
Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the VGU Indie Book Club. My name is Graydon Webb. I'm talking so softly, I feel like it's NPR. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Step on in to my office. That's weird. I'm Graydon Webb, joined today by the illustrious Alan Muir. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good. Did I do something wrong? Or because it sounds like I'm being called in HR's office.
Have a seat. We need to talk about your pension. Um, we so if you haven't been a part of this before and this podcast, hello, welcome again. This is the Indie Book Club. What we do here is we play indie games because we enjoy them a lot, and I wanted to do a series that, you know, it, it gets that exposure on games that some people may or may not have played. If you've not heard our first series, we did oh man, that was a while back at this point, because our finale was part of our 12 days of VGU, so it was like, I don't know, mid last year. We played Thomas Was Alone, the first of Mike Bithel's games, and it was a life-changing experience in a way. It it was a game that you did not expect to like so much, and I don't know. It really definitely shone a light on something that I wanted to get more people to play. So that was very exciting and successful. And I'm thankful that you are coming along on this journey with me as we play Night School. Oh man, yeah, Night School. I always want to say Night Dive, but I don't want to fuck that up. Night School Studio, which is funnily enough now a Netflix studio.
Yeah, that's when I loaded up the game. That was like Night Studio, like a Netflix studio. And I'm like, that's weird.
It's super weird, especially with like but we're playing Oxenfree. Night
Yeah.
School Studios Oxenfree. 2016 hit, I believe possibly their first game. They came out they were established in 2014, and let's see, games developed. Yeah, Oxenfree was their first one. Strangely, their second game was the Mr. Robot iOS game, which I never got to play. That's been delisted, and I really wish, because now I really like Mr. Robot, and I would have loved to play a Telltale co-developed Night School game. It sounds awesome. But we are playing Oxenfree, which is described as a graphic adventure game. It was originally released for OS X, Windows, and Xbox One, and then it came to PS4, Linux in 2016, followed by iOS, Android, and Nintendo Switch versions in 2017. So this is one of those games you can really get anywhere at this point. I really wanted to replay this again because I hope that our next game will be Oxenfree 2, which I have yet to play. And I just thought, why not start at the beginning, and see the compare and contrast them. So in a way, I guess
Before the TV show debuts.
oh my god, is that happening?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. A television series adaptation is also in development. That's going to be great. Oh, that's super cool. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess you could consider this like all one season of Indie Book Club when we do 1 and 2. And Yeah, because this one, I'm thinking it might be a shorter episode, just kind of setting things up with how it is. I have structurally broken this game down in a very strange way. Um, I was like, there's no chapters to it. The game just kind of goes. And so, not trying to spoil things for myself again, even though I have already played this game, I was trying to look through like Let's Plays and see where it can be set up. And a little unknown YouTuber named Jacksepticeye happened to have a 4-part series where he had broken it up into like 4-hour long segments. And my goal with IBC is that we're doing it in like 4 weeks. So that was perfect. And I tried to set it up in that way. And then as I was finally playing it last night, I was like, well, I could have kind of broken it down into like the game is structured in like 8 p.m., 9 p.m. It's got these hourly segments, and so it kind of has chapters, but then again, they're very short segments. So I'm sticking to what I had initially planned, while kind of shifting the stopping points in a way. You can find, if you are playing along with us, you can find that on the Twitter, because I will continue to update that. And I will also let you know what the heck my Twitter is for this show, because I always have it asked backwards. We are at IBCVGU. So there you go. Not too hard to remember that, but I can't remember it. So anyway, Oxenfree. Um, the first question that I will throw out there is, Alan, where are you playing this?
What platform?
Yeah.
Nintendo Switch.
Now, does it? I mean, assumedly it runs well and is fine if it was like the most latest release of it.
Yeah. When I first started the playthrough this earlier today, there was an update because I technically have one, or I got it as a free game on Epic Game Store
Oh yeah.
since, yeah, and I wanted to do like a LP of it, but that just ended up not happening. And then that was feels like that was years ago. Like feels like it was 5 years ago. But yeah, there was from what I played all those ages ago versus earlier today. There wasn't really much of a difference. There were no problems. It was. I'm still trying to get into the swing of things with it.
Okay. So you've played a bit of it before, but you've never finished it. Is that correct?
Um, Correct. I've not finished it, or I've never finished it. In fact, where I stopped, this point where I stopped was further than I made it last time I tried playing it.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's interesting because like you had said, we got to our stopping point, which is theoretically a quarter of the way through the game, quite fast. And what really makes this game like worth experiencing is giving it time with the dialogue options. And even, well, I'll get to it, but I'm kind of playing it a bit differently so that I'm trying out different dialogue options this time. But
I personally am trying to have a consistent have a consistent like through line with the dialogue choices I'm choosing because every game I play that's an adventure game or a game like this where you have like you're kind of like shaping how like the personality of your character, and every time I do this in the video game, it just becomes a very bipolar character personality. Um,
do you try to play it as like as
I
yourself?
I try to play it based on how I perceive the character I'm playing as. So,
Okay.
an example, because I've been playing it nonstop lately, Fallout 4. I'm playing the Far Harbor DLC.
Mhm.
Correction, or correction, Far Harbor.
Yeah, get that right.
Um, there was. I'm being my version of Nate, aka the Soul Survivor, is just overall good guy, and I just got to um, or I just met up with a certain character who is very integral to the plot of Far Harbor, and I said something. There was a dialogue option that I chose because while I like the game, it's the dialogue system like choice is very similar to Oxenfree.
Okay.
And when I say that, I mean it in the most bare bones way possible, as in the face buttons are what choose said dialogue options. And I said something that felt out of character. So then I just decided to I because of that I felt compelled to reload my save and try a different one. So
So you're pretty diehard to the cause.
yeah, um, can we talk about the characters? Because I feel like for everything from what I played so far, I know nothing. I know nothing. I feel like I know less than I did last time I played.
Okay. So that is interesting. Um, and yeah, so I'm gonna end up doing a little synopsis in a way, but the interesting thing is as I was looking at my notes from the synopsis, I was like, these are not exactly what Alan has also gotten. Like, it's one of those, like I said just a moment ago, you really gotta give it its time to like listen to all the little things and that exploration just kind of
You got to let it. It's a slow burn.
yeah, it's a slow burn. A lot of it is like interactive. I hate to say interactive movie, but it gives that kind of vibe of like you're just kind of listening to a lot of the dialogue and building this story based on the questions you ask, the responses you give, and there's these cool like you know scene set pieces that are visually nice, but the gameplay is those choices while you're also walking around. It is very Telltale like if Telltale decided to make like a I don't even know because I mean Telltale games are like point and click adventure games in a way. So it's got that very similar vibe to it, but I get what you mean where you say, and this was what my question before recording was going to be. You said that you didn't feel like you played a full hour. Did you not ask so many questions? And maybe you were just like, all right, keep walking. Like, was that the way you played this?
Um, Not quite,
Okay.
because I didn't. I felt like I knew as I said less than I did before with these characters. I was trying to think about what I was going to say while maintaining character as Alex,
Hmm.
and or in addition to having like because it does do the Telltale dialogue system where you'll have the three options or the four options, the three lines of dialogue, or then there's just the nothing.
True. Yeah, because it's
And
kind of on a timer.
yeah, and if you don't, unless you find a mod on PC or something to give yourself as much time as humanly possible to think, you're just if you're not quick enough, you're just not going to say anything.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this happened to you. Because of the way the controls were for me on Switch, and this I have a feeling this could be a Switch problem, or it could just be a controller problem.
Mhm.
There was a moment, kind of like in the halfway point of the opening, where I was trying to maintain character, like maintain the uh the role,
Mhm.
and as my character said the line, I pressed the button to to go to continue, to basically continue the story. So one character's talking, or one character's talking, character did something else. My character said something, or said the line, said one of the lines of dialogue,
Mhm.
and because I pressed because of the manner of which I pressed the buttons,
Did the
why
audio overlap?
no, the audio started, but because of the way, the manner of which I pressed the buttons, the dialogue was said, and as soon as the dialogue started, character walks basically into the next, like a different script, like a different area.
Oh, and then couldn't respond to you?
No, my character was saying, it was like a long, medium long, like medium sized piece of dialogue
Mhm.
that just got that just got cut off because my character decided to start speaking and then walk through a certain area. So things like that are why I love video games, and things like that are why it's a certain level of jank that has persisted and stayed, and I don't think will ever go away.
Yeah, I will say that this game, there is definitely jankiness to it. Not that it not that it feels dated, but it feels like just little things like it can be something like the perspective on the way that the walking through the environment works, and you'll get caught on something or you won't exactly climb, like the climbing up and down the walls is barely explained, so you can kind of just be like, well, I don't know what the hell to do now, and then you're supposed
That's
to just
that's what happened at a certain
yeah.
point. At a certain point, I realized, oh, I'm not I because I there's a certain part, like the main part where the climbing.
Yeah.
I I was climbing, and then I couldn't see where I was supposed to go. Turns out that I looked up a walkthrough, and turns out that I was doing everything right. I just couldn't see, the brightness was, like, the screen brightness was not the
Oh,
best. So turns out
you
if
couldn't
I
see where
had
to go.
if I had basically dropped down, or if I had climbed down, I wouldn't have needed to consult a walkthrough.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely some weird brightness stuff, and there's some weird audio stuff. The music in this game is very loud. It's trippy and it's like it sets the mood, but it is loud against the dialogue, and there's no options to fix it. Like this game has minimal options, at least on PS4 where I was playing it. It was just like very uh, there's nothing. There's options for subtitles, and for the speaker volume of like your controller, but like there's just nothing for game audio or brightness or anything that you would think are normal video game settings. And it was very weird how like the lack of accessibility there was. So, I mean, yes, it's an indie game. It was their first thing. Maybe they weren't thinking about that as much, but like, especially where you can update a game so much so that this game, back when I played it in 2016 or 17, it didn't say a Netflix game studio, and now you've updated your logo in the update. you can update some settings, like just kind of like whoosh them to just put them in the game. It was just very strange to me, but yeah, it's got some weird little janky things, but
There's a certain thing I really like about it.
okay, that's good.
The,
Well,
the and it's a very minimalist, or it's a very minor thing to love about it. The loading text.
oh yeah.
It is right out of a PS2 game, and I love it. I love it so much.
Did you have a lot of loading? Because mine loaded like it took a little bit.
Yeah. Um,
Just kind of a surprising little thing, but again, it's not the newest of games.
yeah. Yeah. My options, because I just loaded up the game on my game on Switch. The options for version 4.1, subtitles and language. And that's it.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Yep.
It's just so
And
weird.
this is like after I downloaded an update earlier today.
Yeah, like for what?
Yeah,
Stability? Because it's not for loading and it's not
if
for options.
maybe it was the fact that I hadn't, like, it was my first, or it was my, I think it was second time playing it on Switch,
Hmm.
and I think it mainly was just to update it to showing that that Netflix owns the studio.
I bet it was so weird. Just a title update.
I mean, hey, that happened when copies of Doom 3 um were being sold after Bethesda bought, or after ZeniMax bought id. um like certain like if I bought like a copy of Doom 3, and
Hmm.
I think this is pre BFG edition. I, it may, if it wasn't Doom 3, it was definitely a game that was, it was an id game, and one copy I had was Activision, one copy, and the other copy was Bethesda. Made no sense.
Hmm.
May have even been Rage.
Well, I was gonna ask, was it Rage?
It could have been, but that's beside the point. Um, Going back to what you're saying about learning about these characters through dialogue,
Hmm.
and it's interesting how it's interesting how how things are treated, because one moment, like in the beginning, you'll be you can there'll be an option where, like, a dialogue option that comes off as if it's tailored towards people who are just starting, like who are new to the game.
Hmm.
And then there are dialogue options where that that almost feel like they're branching path dialogue options.
Hmm.
Like that if I chosen one, if I chose because I chose one piece of dialogue, another one, a different, like, tree sprouted, or a different set of branches sprouted.
Yeah.
And the point of where we each stopped, I did not look up anything about if there are branching paths, different endings. So all this, so I have basically the fog of war in an RTS game is basically what I have in my brain right now when I'm thinking of, like, it's basically just the Oxenfree logo with the static, the lightning, like the PS2 energy loading screen, and just covered in fog, because I don't know what I'm gonna find.
Well, hey, I won't do a thing to spoil anything from what I remember. The weird thing about it is I'm very just excited to be playing this game because I forget a lot of it and like where it goes. There's some little set pieces I can recall, but really when I think back on it, it's one that I've put in my favorite games list. I know that it left an impact on me, but there really is just like this shroud over my memory of where it leaves off and what happens, and because I'm like you, I can't remember if there's multiple endings. I can't remember if there's like as I'm playing it, I'm like, is there the ability that like we don't all get off this island together? Like I can't remember where it goes, and I'm just like, I don't know. I'm right there with you. I'm very excited to see what goes on, but let's take a moment and go see what we've seen so far.
Okay, speed read definition of Edwards Island. This is a tourist trap with shops and a beach. Nobody lives here except for some geriatric named Mrs. Adler. But, as God is my witness, we'll never mention her or any other old person's name again. We are here to drink and be stupid, a tradition apparently started by bored recruits in the 1950s who would sneak dates over from the coastal towns. They literally called it trawling.
So, with my minimal notes of a synopsis, we start at the beginning of Oxenfree. So the game begins at 8 p.m., where Ren, Jonas, and Alex are taking a boat to an island. Jonas and Alex are step siblings. Ren and Alex are childhood friends, and you play as Alex. Ren seems to know a lot about this island, named Edwards Island. He says only one inhabitant supposedly lives there, a hermit named Mrs. Adler. By checking Alex's radio, they pick up a signal that mentions a war along the coast and lost ships. We eventually learn our gang is part of the Kamina High junior class who have come to the island to drink and party. We also learn about the alleged frequencies that capture stations that don't exist near the mouth of some caves on the island. So, in this first bit, we get a little bit of backstory on the characters. We learn who we're dealing with. We learn where we are, and we're introduced to this radio mechanic. Now, did you? Well, you've played it before, so you knew about this radio mechanic.
Yeah, that was actually where I stopped. That was where I stopped playing the first time around. Prior
Oh,
to earlier today.
okay. I will say, and I say this whenever Oxenfree is mentioned. Sound like a freaking broken record, but the coolest thing that I love about this game is that on PS4 and probably PS5, that radio plays through the speaker in your controller. And I played it there the first time, and now I was like, where should I play it now that it's everywhere and it's on, like, you can play it on an iPad with through Netflix, you can play it on the Switch, and like you said, it's free all over the place. I probably have it on Epic Games, but I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna play it on Switch on what am I saying, on PS4 again, because I just love that mechanic and it's so cool. And I was trying to pick it up last night. I really don't think that speaker plays through even the TV. Like, it feels so immersed that you like need that speaker on in the controller to really get those radio that radio dialogue. So I don't know, just a little fun part about Oxenfree that makes it feel very, like, turns up the immersion. And yeah, so that radio mechanic, I like that a lot because you can open that at any time throughout the game. And it's kind of like what I was learning from Fallout 76, where you can just and assumedly any Fallout, you can just turn on the radio and listen to, that kind of 50s and stuff music. But
Um, well, basically anything post Fallout 3.
okay, so it's a more modern thing.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, Oxenfree is a similar way. You can walk around the whole game with that radio out, and there are some frequencies that will play some jazz. There are frequencies that will play radio shows. And then there are always like these weird, creepy, distorted Morse code.
Yes, I was gonna bring that up because I when I got to the tutorial part of the radio system, I was hearing that, and I'm like,
Mhm.
I was just like, is this supposed to be like, is this a scripted thing, or is this just like, basically I was thinking to myself, if how sensitive or how critical it is to the plot and the overall story, because earlier in the game, I think you're tuning into a friend's uh, radio station, like at their school.
Yeah, in the tutorial bit.
Yeah, and I did know that you can basically use the radio at any time. So that once I start playing it next, or once I go back to it, for in prep for the next recording, I'm
Mhm.
definitely gonna see what I can find, like what little things I can find.
Yeah, there's definitely like I don't think that Morse code has to do with like the overall plot, at least from what I remember, but I'm sure that there was some kind of Easter egg if you like actually look into all of them. And I mean they establish a little later on that like you can go to the like piles of rocks and try to listen into the frequencies. And I think that just throughout the world there are little areas that you can just open up your radio, see what you can hear. So it's definitely like a little meta game, but I it's more than I want to spend on trying to do that level of exploring. But I will say it once again makes the world feel more broad and more uh just more immersed if you just keep looking around for these kinds of things. So it's a cool gameplay mechanic definitely to have that radio. It's what makes Oxenfree to me, and it's just a really neat little thing cuz even again with the PlayStation, like you can use the touchpad to scroll through the frequencies. Like it just feels like it's really using all of what that controller has to offer in a way. And it's just a fun little gimmicky thing. I enjoy it a lot. Um So yeah, 9 p.m. comes along. Nona and Clarissa appear. Uh, I wrote, Ren is nosy as hell. Ren likes Nona. These is like little bullet points I have written down. But yeah, Ren is pretty horrible. Like he's just super nosy. I think the first time I played it, I was like, oh, my love interest. I must do whatever he wants. And now I'm just like, nah. Like I'll stick with my brother or whatever, but like I'm not gonna try to like be into this dude because he's just annoying. um According to the girls, Maggie Adler is dead and not actually on the island. Once on the beach, the gang plays Truth or Slap, where we learn that Alex's brother Michael died and her parents got a divorce. This led to I forget who married who to bring her and Jonas together as a family, but after that
The
divorce,
mother married uh, Jonas's father.
okay. All right, there you go. Um Clarissa is an overall asshole to Alex and her trio, and she tries to reveal Ren's crush on Nona. The three, being Alex, Jonas, and Ren, go to explore the caves and experience the radio signals with flashing lights and Morse code. So, at the end of this little bit, they jump a fence, they go to the cave, or to the mouth of a cave, rather. And this is where he's like, oh, try it by that rock pile. Try a radio over there, see what happens. And something lights up within the cave, and this entices Jonas, and he goes in and leaves you to follow him. Now, question I have for you, did you go that there were 2 points that I had Um, well, there was a couple little options where it's like you can either choose to stay behind or you can go for it. Like before you jump that fence, you could be like, "Yeah, I'll come with you later," or not. Like, did you just choose to jump the fence immediately?
No, I was actually my playthrough thing I'm going with right now is very apprehensive toward about the whole thing.
Okay. So you chose maybe later?
No, I Jonas jumped the fence first. Or no, not Jonas. No, Ren jumped the fence first, and I honestly I didn't want to be around Clarissa because she's the worst.
Yeah.
Um,
Alright. So then you went with it because then you followed Jonas.
yeah,
Gotcha. Yeah, there were little bits where I'm like, I was writing them down because I just want to see like what happens if you choose to stay on the beach. Or I actually did tell Jonas, or I didn't immediately go after him, and I kind of stuck around with Ren for a bit. But all he did was have some like the pot brownie that he had hit, and then he just kind of got loopy, and then the dialogue just stopped. So it was like you eventually had to go into the cave, but for a while it feels like, oh, I did something that was against the what it wants me to do. And again, that's interesting. It opens up, it does feel like another branched path, and even if it doesn't lead to something, it's like, well, I got to see what happened there. All right, let me step back a branch and go down the other one. It's very I don't want to say Life is Strange-esque. It's very just Telltale heavy. But alas, 10 p.m. rolls around, and Alex follows Jonas into the cave to find the source of the mysterious light. So this was another point where I found him, and then you could either go deeper or you could leave. And I wanted to know what happened if you left. Did you do that or did you go deeper?
Oh, I left.
Really? What happened?
Did you leave or did you go deeper?
I went deeper. Wait, did
Okay.
you?
I how Jonas says he wants to go further, and you have the option to say no. We're going back.
Yeah.
That's what I did. So what happens is you basically backtrack all the way to the entrance, and there's no way out.
Really?
Yeah, and there's a whole thing about how did this there's a whole thing about not of them, the characters being in disbelief of what's going on, of how that's even possible. So there's no choice. They have no choice but to go further in to the cave.
Oh, wow, that's scary. That's
Yeah,
really cool.
yeah. It's it's a really good way to not have that problem of like writing yourself into a corner and just forcing having one choice be having only one choice available.
Right,
And
because oh, go ahead.
Other with Telltale games, there was the false sense of being in control of your own destiny, and with the fact that no matter what you did in any of the games post Walking Dead or post after Walking Dead season 1, if you tried to see if there were branching paths or if anything would be different, that wasn't going to happen. You would just be
Yeah.
disappointed.
Yeah, that gave people a lot of Telltale fatigue at the height of Telltale prominence, because you never really felt like your choices mattered.
Yeah, I mean, Blank will remember that. Became a meme. It's still a meme for a reason.
True.
because that's the only thing it was kind of like a serotonin hit
Yeah,
or a dopamine rush.
you felt like you were doing something.
Yeah, and in reality, nope.
Everybody got that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's sad. It kind of breaks the illusion of that, but and I feel like yes, Oxenfree is linear in a way. Like, I mean, we both ended up in the cave, but it's cool to, like I just said, when you take that branch and it's a dead end, it kind of wasn't like you sparked another event in your story. Like, that's part of your story now. Is like, you guys tried to leave, you couldn't leave, and now you went. Meanwhile, I was like, "Fuck it, let's go." So it's different, and I like that. Um so yeah, they continue into the cave, and there they encounter a floating triangle, seemingly conjured by Alex's radio. Did this so just real quick, with Oxenfree, you probably have seen the like triangle motif of its branding, right?
I did not.
Oh, okay. There's a lot of it in terms of like imagery and screen grabs and stuff. They'll always try to do like these things with triangles, and it's just like when you see it, you're like, "Oh, okay, that's what it is." But it does it's like such a cool way that you still have no idea what the hell is going on. Like the whole time you're just like, "Alrighty." But yeah, triangles. Um Radio frequencies, like, you then open your radio and try to manipulate this triangle, and,
Yeah, yeah. This actually I really enjoyed because it was just so simple, and I did so I did have to brute force it at a certain point because since I've been playing Fallout 4, I've been doing a lot of lock picking puzzles, which are basically the same thing as the radio s- the radio mini game.
okay, just, like, fiddling back and forth.
Yeah, and because I've been playing Fallout 4 and doing the lock picking stuff, I'm turned every time I have something that looks somewhat familiar both in design and gameplay, like in like control. I was moving my thumb like on the joystick maybe 0.1 or at 0.1 speed compared to regular speed.
Okay.
And then I realized because I had I was hoping I was expecting I was going to miss something because I like the common or it's the unspoken thing with video games that it, I have a feeling that if I go this way, I'm probably gonna find something cool. Oh no, I just ended up going in the way that the story wanted me to go. Oh damn it! And I was expecting that to happen, and it didn't. There just wasn't anything. There just wasn't anything there. It was a nice, or it was a very. It was actually it was just a really nice subversion of something that I I it was just something that was just for I was only I was thinking of. Like I don't think anyone else when playing the game was expecting it to be like that. So it's just like just ticking that box for or check marking that box for yep, that's I'm definitely gonna check out the sequel.
Well, I'm glad that your Fallout expertise is helping you in in a game such as this.
But we have to talk about the person, the mysterious person.
Yes, yes, what happens? So, like I said, radio frequencies manipulate said light triangle and open a big triangle portal. They hear distorted voices, including this including the sentence, "Hello? which was fucking terrifying. Um, through this spirit box type voice, when I wrote, which works like Bumblebee from the Bayverse films, they are asked, quote, "Is leave possible?" which confuses Alex. She and Jonas are shown a vision of, I think, a sinking shipwreck and blackout. So part of me, and this is not to be like spoilery, but uh, part of what I think is that shipwreck motif comes back in some regard. Like it has something to do with this island. And so I really think that that's what we were seeing that was falling in the back of that vision. They were obviously at the bottom of an ocean. There was something falling in the distance, and then it blacked out. And yeah, they blacked out. But it's obviously something was trying to contact them from wherever this portal leads to. Ren has a theory that it's some kind of alien being, and
Or just hear me out. It's Desmond in the hatch.
with Hurley and the smoke
No,
monster.
no, with Clancy Brown character.
Was he on Lost?
Yeah, he played. Okay, I'm sorry. I want to sneak in a Lost reference. So yeah, Clancy Brown is he's the guy he's the character who Desmond takes over because Clancy Brown tries to kill or tries to trap Desmond in there, and the whole thing happens.
Oh my God.
Lost. It was definitely a thing in the 2000s.
God, when we finish this game and it like has so many references to Lost, somehow we're gonna be like, what the
Yeah, it's gonna be like, I cannot believe the Hurlybird just turned into a volcano.
why is there a polar bear? Like literally all I know about Lost is just keywords.
4, 18, 15, 16, 23, 42. Boom.
Did you watch all of Lost?
Yeah, I had the the ultra like box set that released after the show ended that came with the black and white stones, and yeah, just memories of having that, playing Heavy Rain. Don't remember much about Heavy Rain, but I remember more about Lost. So that's a win-win for me.
God. So many people were on Lost.
Yeah, it was a big show.
Michael Emerson of Fallout fame was on Lost. Who would have thought?
Okay. I sorry. I just need to get this off my chest. I just need to mention this. Okay,
Yes.
Michael Emerson and Terry O'Quinn, Ben and Locke, respectively. After Lost was when Lost was ending, all the cast members were either getting announced or announcing what they were doing next. Some of the people were like the what's his name, Johnny Gat, his actor who was
Daniel
also
Day
on
Kim.
Lost, Daniel Day Kim. He got cast for Hawaii Five-0, or the remake of that show.
Yeah. I love that show for a while.
Yeah, prior to everyone leaving. Michael Emerson and Terry O'Quinn, they were trying to pitch a show in which they were the main characters, and they were basically playing hitmen, and it was going to be like them as older, like silver hitmen, and it is a crime that show never happened, because the banter that they had on Lost would have been perfection for that type of that type of genre, like a dark comedy.
Huh.
It's what could have been. It's like it's right up there with Garrus Vakarian's Citadel PD or Citadel Private Detective.
There's got to be some heaven where all these canceled shows exist.
Yeah, to quote Brad Shoemaker, Garrus Vakarian Citadel Private Investigator is a premise too good for this world.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, it wouldn't be a VGU podcast without me going on a rant about something.
There's our tangent of the evening. But
check that box.
Okay, so see these little piles of rocks? The kids before us always leave them here so you know where to try and tune in the signals. So you're going to want to stand basically right around here and just tune the dial left or right until you start hearing some weirdness. Holy crap! Wow, it's even cooler than I thought it would be. This is insane.
It must be, like...
My running theory has always been like traffic reports from another galaxy, but, you know.
Speaking of tangents and cotangents, how about those triangles? So 11 p.m.
Yeah.
11 p.m. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I wanted to ask if like what did you say when what was your answer to the mysterious voice?
When it said the things tell everyone hello, I was like, hi. And then it was like, is leave possible? And I was like, I don't understand.
I said yes.
Really?
Yeah.
And what did it say?
Nothing really. It
doesn't really listen to you. It just keeps going.
Yeah, it just keeps going.
Okay. See, that makes me think it too is like the leave, like, yeah, it could mean, is it possible to like leave the island, or leave meaning like the war? So I'm like, this war, these ships, like this is all going to come back in some way. If it does, I'm not saying like I predicted things. I'm just saying, okay, that's a bit of the game from the past that floated into my psyche. But I really like don't know it. I just can't wait to play more. Like that's where I'm at. But yeah, to get toward the end here of where we were, 11 p.m. rolls around. Alex and Jonas wake up by a comms tower and climb it. The comms owned by, what was his name? Dick Harden?
Yeah, Richard Harden. And then Jonas makes a joke about Dick Harden. And then when they hear from Ren, he makes the same joke. And then there's the option of, then there's the choice from that point on.
Yes.
They're on out.
So yeah, so as they're climbing, Jonas thinks that this is all a prank and wants off the island. Alex assures him that it is not. They break into the tower and the phone rings. Ren is calling from a phone in the woods. He says he passed out. Clarissa then calls an emergency line from Fort Milner, which leads to the comms tower. Everyone is split up across the island somehow, and we are given the choice to find Ren in the woods or Clarissa at the fort. And then I ended it with, where should we go? So I will say, just to clarify where this was initially, Jacksepticeye, the Lord and the patron saint of this podcast, apparently went right for Fort Milner, and then his like first playthrough ends after he kind of goes through some kind of like, I don't know, goes toward it. And that was what I had saw as like the last couple minutes. and I didn't realize that there was going to be a choice to do whatever. I will say, I don't
Oh,
know.
was I supposed to? Because I made a decision of where I was going to go, and then I stopped there.
And where's your decision?
First, I chose to go to where Ren was. Then I backpedaled because Jonas said that Fort Milner is closer, and it'd be like we could just double around, if I remember correctly, because of the way the map is structured.
Okay. So you're going to Fort Milner.
Yeah,
Okay. Because I don't know exactly where the save ends.
me neither. So I imagine it'll start off back at like after like at 11
Yeah.
or 11 a.m.
But that's going to be a ways back now at this point. But
Oh no! I meant like at this like when after waking up near the tower. That's at least that's my guess.
yeah, I don't know. But I had chosen to go toward Ren. So I think we should stick with that because I think that I went to Fort Milner in the last one, at my last time, and I'm pretty sure that within another hour we'll have met back up somehow to where the narrative should be. So I say let's do that for the sake of okay. let's for the sake of trying something different and seeing what happens. Let's go different ways. I'm cool to do that.
Okay.
I'm trying to get my notebook because I wanted to know what my next time was going to be stopping at. Part 2. I have this spoils a little bit, but it's going to be fine. I have the part 2 this next week will end. Now I'm not finishing it right now. You know what? Hold on. I have a couple quick questions for you before I end up trying to wrap this whole thing up. So let me put that aside a moment. I wanted to ask. Well, I actually answered that question. I guess I'll just ask a simple question of who's your favorite character thus far.
Believe it or not, Ren.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's who I liked in the first one. I don't mind at all. I guess I'm kind of I do think that he's nosy, but I thought it was very endearing in the first time. Like I liked his, excitement about the island, and that was in my first playthrough I tried to play it like more to how I would see things. But now in this one I'm trying to be a lot more cynical. I'm choosing like some angry dialogue choices, and I'm playing it that I'm a little annoyed with him. But all right.
Yeah, because I'm playing it as, and by the way, I quickly just did a quick checkup of my, like, just loaded up the game on at least on Switch. I can't say if that's if it's universal, but it loaded me at 11 p.m.
It loads like at when they wake up?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, at least now we know going forward how saves work.
Yeah.
That they'll go to the beginning of the chapter. All right, then I don't So this is tough.
I do have a question, because
Yeah.
I what does it mean when, okay, so what does it mean when when you're talking to one character and another character who's nearby will, like, will have like the word balloon or thought balloon will have the portrait of a character?
I was going to ask that cuz I didn't know if you picked up on that too.
Yeah.
I thought at some times that there were like cues, like little music cues at the same time, which led me to believe, oh, maybe that's like a so and so will remember that type of thing. Like, oh, that really affected them, or what their dialogue is going to be. But then I realized I wasn't hearing the music as often, so it might have just been like the song playing at the time. But it still could be that kind of thing where it's like, because sometimes it'll be just like Alex's face, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, what is that? What does that say to me? but it may be like, oh, this person was affected more by what you just said, or yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know what it is.
Only time or the past will tell.
I guess so.
Okay, I think the portraits thing, that whole
Uh-huh.
question. Okay, it says that has to do with character relationships, like friendships and all that.
Okay. So it is kind of like, oh, this affected someone more. That kind of makes sense. All right, perfect. Perfect. So I have it set because this is I don't want to say like, oh, well, our stopping point will be at this certain thing with this certain person when we're playing a game that could have, maybe you're not with that person or you're not at that place. But seemingly, our next stopping point will be 2 a.m. So when you see 2 a.m., shut it off.
Okay.
And that way we'll know, like, it'll save there, and that'll be where we boot up for part 3. And yeah, because we're at 11 p.m., and that will be ending at 2 a.m. But yeah, no, that is interesting about the character relationships. I'll have to be more receptive to seeing those when they pop up.
Yeah,
But
it did
hey,
not help that when I was trying to look, I saw some stuff.
oh no,
I didn't see any spoilers. I saw some question like theories and stuff.
oh, all
So
right.
so yeah.
Well, get to theorizing anyway, because we are about to dive even further into this game. Did you have more to say, or
Uh, I'm hoping that there's more. Like I'm hoping things slow down
okay?
as opposed to how everything just flew by.
Yeah, yeah, I would like it to last a bit more than an hour. Like, just have some more time to explore the dialogue and stuff. I will say another night school game that I adore is After Party. And After Party feels like you have more time to, like, just take your time with it.
So
So,
that's the thing. That's the game actually that was the main night school game that I was interested in. Like that was the first game of theirs that I saw. I was like, I need to play this.
okay. Well, maybe I'll add it to the list because it's a
Oh, I own it on Epic as well,
nice.
and I have an idea for something for this is. We'll talk about this post show,
Yeah.
but it's something I was thinking of in the back of my head when playing the game or playing Oxenfree. So
Okay. I like your ideas. They scare me, but I like them. Well, After Party is a damn good time. I always try to like retweet when it's on sale because it goes on sale frequently and it gets cheap. And I just think everyone should play it. It feels like the perfect culmination of what Night School's been trying to do and learning to do. And that's why I hope that Oxenfree 2, which came out last year or the year before, is even better. Just because like they know what they're doing, and that's exciting. But yeah, I'm enjoying this little trip down memory lane with this game. It's very nostalgic for me, even though it's less than 10 years, but still, you get a different console generation and you think, well, it feels like forever ago. So thank you for playing along with me, and I hope that you enjoy the next 3 hours, so to speak, on Edwards Island. And yeah, thank you all for listening. Thank you for supporting. Please share and rate us and do all that stuff. I mean, this podcast is still in the VGU feed, so listen to all of our other stuff, our Game of the Year stuff we just went up, and then go and listen to our other podcast, which is called VGU Gaiden. It's a retrospective film podcast. DJ and I are currently watching the 3 Shinkai disaster anime films, which is Your Name, Weathering with You, and Susume. And it is a wild time. so go and please subscribe to that as well. Listen to that. It's a fun time. And yeah, when you hear this, it will be very soon, and we will like it's so weird to have podcasts actually going up immediately. But yeah, we'll see you in a week when it is 2 a.m. and we are still playing Oxenfree. Thank you, Alan.
No problem. Always happy to be here.
Always a great time. And we will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.